Hi everybody, Charles here. Welcome to Backroads Living. In today's video, we're going to be discussing why people go hungry. If you enjoy our videos, we'd ask that you subscribe to our channel, like our videos. When the bell icon appears, click that bell and you'll be notified when we upload our new videos. Hang in there and we'll get right on into this one. Hi everybody. In today's video, we're going to be discussing reasons why people go hungry. It's not always just because of a shortage of food. But before we get into that, I wanted to clarify something that I mentioned the other day in one of my videos. I had reported on this particular instance right here about thousands of cars formed lines to collect food in Texas. This was in North Texas. And I got a comment from a subscriber that said I needed to clarify and verify the articles that I were reading because some of this stuff took place back in August. Now, I did go back and redo that. And yes, there was a lot of things that took place in August, and I appreciate the heads up on that because I hadn't really noticed that date on the article when I reported on that one. But now the article on that, as you can see right here, is dated November the 16th, 2020. So I also have a more recent article than that dealing with this same instance. This is the North Texas Food Bank that fed about 25,000 people and put out about 600,000 pounds of food over that one weekend. And now that's a lot of food and a lot of people. So let's go on to the next one. I'm going to go ahead and let something be loading right here while we're doing that. Because I want to show you something just a little bit right there. But anyway, here's the article on this next one. It's on the same food distribution organization, the North Texas Food Bank, but it has a little bit more information on it than the one I reported the other day. One of the things I want to mention to you in this article is it's not always a food shortage that causes people to go hungry. A lot of times it's just because people don't have the money to buy the extra groceries with. And I posted a question on my Facebook page on Backroads Living Prepping, and I asked what was the biggest struggle you have when it comes to prepping or putting back food, prepping your pantries. And the first 2 or 3 answers I got was a lack of money. So it's not always a lack of food. There's a lot of people that are struggling financially, and this is going to cause a great amount of stress and a great amount of problems across our nation because of all the unemployment that has already run out, all the unemployment. I mentioned this in our last video, that all the unemployment that's running out the day after Christmas, or on the 26th, many of the mortgages that have been postponed, those programs are coming to an end, along with the rental programs that have been postponed. All that's coming to an end. And unless something is done about it, like really quick, we're talking about like within a month, people are going to be without money and without homes. And many of them will be pushed to the brink of poverty. They'll lose everything they've got, including their vehicles. So there's going to be a lot of people in the United States of America. Now, I never thought I would ever say this in my lifetime, that there was going to be this kind of devastation in the United States of America. But with everything that's taken place in the country in 2020, it has brought this country just about to its knees financially. The government has just about destroyed the small businessman. Now, that's just the bottom line. And this second wave that they're talking about, and these lockdowns that they're doing again, and these mandates or suggestions or whatever they want to call them, that they're imposing on all the states again, we'll be lucky to survive it. I'm talking about as a nation. Now, I'll survive it. My wife will survive it. Many of you will survive it who have been prepping and putting back food and getting prepared for this time, because you knew that there might come a time like this that would happen. And it's going to be tough for people that haven't been preparing, or that have no foresight to understand what can happen. Even after what happened with this first wave of this stuff back in the spring of the year, people still would not accept the fact that these things can happen here in America. And why, I don't know, but they just don't. There'll be people that when the whole thing collapses and falls down around their ears, they'll look up and say, well, this isn't happening. This is not happening. I can't believe this is happening. The government's going to rush in and save me. And it's just not going, they're just not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. You're going to have to get ready. Now, the time for, the time for easy talk and sweet talk and patting everybody on the back is over. It's time to get ready. You need to do whatever you got to do, but you've got to get ready. If you need to sell one of your cars, sell one of your cars and go buy food with it. If you need to get rid of whatever, your boat, whatever it is that's non-essential, those things now are non-essential, sell it and go buy you some food and put it back. You're going to have to live, and the only way you can live is if you have food to eat. So you're going to have to get rid of some stuff if you don't have the money to buy it with, and buy it with your toys you've owned for years. Some of you don't even have that to sell. So you're going to have to make do somehow. It's time to go get you some food. There's still food on the shelves. Food hasn't run completely out. The toilet paper may be gone, but there's still food in the shelves. Last trip we made to Walmart, that we looked, there might have been 4 or 5 boxes of that little cheap toilet paper sitting on the end of the shelf, and all the rest of it was gone. I've had people send me papers. I've had people send me pictures of stuff. Their stores and stuff, and the toilet paper's gone. They still got food, but the toilet paper's gone. You can't eat toilet paper. There's shortages of money. Seems like to me there's a greater shortage of money than there is of food. Now, our food supply chains have been damaged, and they'll be damaged again if we're not very careful. I just can't see it not happening the way things are going, and that'll cause a lot of grief in the United States, cause a lot of food shortages in grocery stores and people's homes. But as of right now, there's food on the shelves still yet, and there seems to be a lack of money in people's pockets and bank accounts. That's going to create a lot of problems. The food pantries that the people are lining up in, it's not because there was a lack of food. It's like these food pantries in North Texas. There was a lot of food came in there. They distributed over 600,000 pounds of food to 25,000 families that weekend. They wasn't there because there was no food. They were there because they had no money. They didn't have money to buy food with. So let's look on into this just a second. And if we think this is rough, let's listen to what this lady says that's head over this food pantry. Now, we've already gone over this portion right here. This is the portion of where they fed the 25,000 families, the 600,000 pounds of food. And now the woman that's over the North Dallas food pantry, she said this. She said it, she says the months ahead don't look promising at all, and there's simply not a nice way to say it. In 2021, 2 very important programs from the USDA are ending. Listen real close to this. She said, we're looking to lose about 17 million pounds worth of food, and that just translates to more hungry people. A line item of funds under the USDA Emergency Food Assistance Program is expected to end. It's called the Food Purchase Distribution Plan, or FPDP. The program, now listen here, this is not just going to affect people needing food, this is going to affect farmers as well. The program allows the federal government to purchase some $1.4 billion in food from farmers caught up in the middle of trade conflict and unable to export goods. The program is also known as the Trade Mitigation Food Purchase and Distribution Program. But now this is coming to an end this year. Where's that going to put the farmers that still need to sell all this stuff, that need to get rid of all this excess food that they had that they couldn't get rid of because of the trade wars? They've still got all this stuff to get rid of. There will be people that will have tons of food that they need to get rid of, farmers that they won't be able to. The government's ending that program. There goes the money for that, for the farmers. When that money runs out, and this food that they've been buying from the farmers, this is a lot of food been going to the food programs. She said the magnitude of the potential loss is hard for most people to comprehend. It's really hard to conceptualize 17 million pounds. A good way to do that is to think about our distribution at Fire Park on Saturday. Now, they fed 25,000 people that weekend, 600,000 pounds of food, and she said it would be 30 times that much is what they'll be losing this year. And then there's another problem, a problem that's been ongoing for months already. She said a COVID-related supply chain crisis caused the USDA to cancel 221 trucks that were supposed to arrive in North Texas this year. So how many other places were affected by this? It wasn't just Texas. Of the food we're supposed to get this year, they are not delivering on their promises. Hawthorne said the food bank had planned for the end of the mitigation food purchase program, but the canceled trucks creates supply fluctuations they were not prepared for. It's more than what a petition or the public can fix. She said the public can't fix this, or a petition can't fix this. You can't fix 17 million pounds of food overnight. You just can't do that. It's just too much. Where was that at? 17 million pounds worth of food from farmers. And then we've got these supply trucks that wasn't able to get to them. And you just can't fix it overnight. You can't snap your fingers and it be fixed. Or Congress can't just pass a bill and everybody be fed. These things take time. And the ball's already been dropped by the government, by what they've done with all these lockdowns and all this stuff that they've created. And it's going to put people in the worst winter that we've ever seen for them. That's what's coming. I keep saying we're going to have a hard winter. It's going to be difficult for people. I'm thankful for those of you who have prepared. Those of you who haven't, if you've got stuff to sell, sell it and buy you some food. Nationally, food banks are seeing about 60% increase. National food banks, that's all over the United States, there has been a 60% increase from what they saw last year. That is nothing that a food drive can unfortunately replace. You can't replace a 60% increase with a food drive. You can't drum up enough food to replace that kind of increase. We're talking tens of millions. Listen to these numbers. We're talking tens of millions of pounds of food that we're not going to be able to get out into the community. Tens of millions of pounds of food that they're just not going to get because of this. So, we don't want to be facing a perfect storm here of increased need that is not going anywhere. coupled with resources that are depleting because we can't get the USDA to fulfill those orders. But it looks like that may be just exactly what's going to happen. It's not going to be a good time, and people's running out of money. Their unemployment's running out. Their housing extension, mortgage extensions are running out. Their rent extensions are running out. Landlords who have not been getting their rent payment, their mortgage extensions are running out, and when those come due, they're going to have to collect rent. And if people can't pay rent, then they're going to have to be put out in the street. Banks will collect their mortgages. Another thing we have to understand here is that about 33% of the mortgages in the United States right now is owned by the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve has given these banks money, and they hold mortgages for the security for those loans and that money that they have given them. And that's going to continue to increase. The next thing you know, the Federal Reserve is going to own everything in the United States, all the mortgages. That's not a good thought, is it? That the Federal Reserve would own your mortgage? They may already own ours, I don't know. But that's a lot of mortgages. We're talking about tons of mortgages. And I think by the end of the year, when all this, the mortgage relief plan is ended, there's going to be about 16 million mortgages affected by that. So there's going to be a big problem here in the United States. Greater than we've ever imagined. And I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to warn you. I'm trying to get you prepared, hoping that you'll understand that there's a great need here for preparation. There's a great need here to put food back. There's a great need here to be prepared for this stuff that's coming. We don't know how this is going to affect us as people who have prepared. That's another thing. You don't need to be bragging about what you've got. You don't need to be going out here bragging about how big a pantry you've got and showing all your pantries on YouTube and bragging about how much food you've got put back. It's a wonderful thing to have it put back, but man, I sure wouldn't be telling people. They'll be knocking on your door the next thing you know. So really the reason that people are going hungry right now in the United States is the money. It seems like to me that's the greatest problem right now. Now we've had food chain damages. We've had some food shortages in the spring and just splattering through the summer. And right now there's don't seem to be a great food shortage when we go out to the groceries and Walmart. I mean, you find some blank spaces and on shelves, and you'll find some shelves fronted with stuff where there's nothing behind it, and they've cut down on how much space they use for their vegetables and meats and things like that. But there's still stuff there to buy, and people are still buying it. But that's going to decrease. That's going to continue to decrease. And with what this lady right here says, with the 60% increase of people coming to the food banks, and they said that the people that they fed that weekend, just a couple of weekends ago, that 40% of them were new participants in food banks. And then with the food being cut off that's coming to them, and the money cut off to the farmers that a lot of this food was coming from, it's going to adversely affect the food banks. She said it's going to cripple them terribly. So people's going to be in a real struggle, is what I'm thinking. And we need to keep that in mind. And if you haven't got your pantries topped off yet, I'd suggest topping them off. I suggest, as I said in a video a few weeks ago, a couple of days ago or three, whenever it was, you need to be filling in those gaps every chance you get. Don't waste a trip to the store. Now this is going back across the country from Texas to Connecticut. Let's look at this one. Pantries in desperate need of donations during unprecedented times. This is in Connecticut. It says, with Thanksgiving next week, food pantries and soup kitchens are gearing up for a season like no other. According to Feeding America, this is a different food bank there will be more than 600,000 people across the state looking for help this holiday. This is just one state. This is not the United States. This is the state of Connecticut. 600,000 people across the state will be looking for help this holiday. However, this year is much different for local pantries and community kitchens. On any given day, the small team at Covenant Shop Kitchen in Willimantic is juggling multiple roles. They're passing out canned goods, packing pantry boxes for families, and collecting winter clothing. Also, now that a local soup kitchen is closed due to the COVID-19 concerns, they're serving lunch and dinner daily. We have leveled off at 2.5 times normal just before Thanksgiving, and we're seeing numbers skyrocket again. They'd leveled off at 2.5 times their normal amount of food they were having to put out, and now they're starting to skyrocket again. Those picking up a bite to eat will say this kitchen is their lifeline. But as their lines and request forms double, Covenant Shop Kitchen said their ability to serve is being challenged. Clark said they're working with fewer volunteers because of the pandemic, and their usual food donations have decreased. Well, food donations are going to continue to decrease. When people run out of money and they run out of unemployment, they have no jobs, they have no future of jobs, they have no prospect of jobs. They can't donate to the food kitchens. They've got to eat their food. They've got to spend their money on food. The donations are going to continue to dwindle, and they're going to get cut off eventually because nobody will have any money to send them anything. It's a dilemma that isn't unique to Eastern Connecticut. The agencies that we work with tell us they see up to 50% increases in the people that are visiting their programs, and their orders to us are increasing accordingly. He said that this year they purchased more food. Now look right here. They purchased more food than the past 6 years combined. If that's not a wake-up call, I don't know what is. It is time to get, as old saying, it's time to get your house in order. Yeah, it's time to stock up those food pantries. It's time to level off those things, fill in those gaps that you're struggling with, whatever you're lacking. It's time to put your gas back, fill up your gas cans, get them put back. It's time to get all these things put together, set aside that you might need this winter. It's time to do it. Get it done. The last one I wanted to look at here, we're going to go back down south this time. We've been to Texas, and we've cut across the country to Connecticut. So now let's go back down to Georgia. So we don't see all these states and when I was going in them. We live in each individual state, or some of you live in another country, some of you live up in Canada, and we just kind of see what's going on around us, and maybe in your province or in your section of the country you live in, or us in the state we live in. We're more familiar with that than we are anything normally. But we've seen Texas now, and the food banks out there said they're going to come into grave needs. They're not going to be able to fulfill all the requests for food. Went to Connecticut, they said basically the same thing. And now we're going to go down to Georgia. Report: thousands of children projected to go hungry in Georgia due to this pandemic. Do what? COVID-19 will leave more than 500,000 Georgians in a state of food insecurity. That's according to a recent supplemental report from the Hunger Relief Organization, Feeding America. The report's prediction is that half of those will be children. All of this is on top of the more than 1.3 million Georgians who are already without access to enough nutritious food to live a healthy life. This other million, 500,000, is on top of the 1.3 million that's already struggling. That 500,000 figure is a prediction. All right, so where did the prediction come from? But when this host of All Things Considered spoke with the head of the Atlanta Community Food Bank, this is where the prediction came from, the Atlanta Community Food Bank, the people that are boots on the ground, that are feeding people, that are seeing the people come in that are hungry and in need of food. He spoke to the head of the Atlanta Community Food Bank earlier this afternoon, and Kyle Wade, the head of the Atlanta Community Food Bank, said recent demands affirm those predictions. So we've already got 1.3 million Georgians who are already without access to enough nutritious food to live a healthy life, and we've got another 500,000 they're predicting to be put on top of that, and they're predicting that half of those will be children. So it's not just happening in Texas. You know, we like to think it's happening away from us, that all this stuff, you know, we used to think here in America that these things couldn't happen to us. We used to always feel like that the government had a grip on things and a hold on everything, and nothing like this could ever happen in the United States of America. This always happened in foreign lands where they had dictators and they had people that oppressed the people. Well, welcome to America, where people are oppressed, go hungry. But anyway, let's get to a lighter note. All right. Again, let's top off our food pantries first. Let's fill in the gaps. If you are unemployed and you have a boat, an extra vehicle, any kind of unnecessary things that are not needful for your survival, I would recommend you sell them. That's just my opinion. I'd recommend you sell them and make sure you've got a food pantry stocked up with that money. It's time to make some headway before all this collapses. And it's going to. It's going to get tougher. It's going to be a tough winter, and it's going to be a tougher year next year. So, here's what I've been talking to you folks about when we would be on our live feeds. We have a website, backroadsliving.com. And I have been asking you folks to submit your recipes that are easy to make, that you can just make out of your pantries, and send them to our email address. It's in the description below. And here's what I'm doing with them. On our website, we have a link here in the top in the menu. It says prepping. When you hover over that with your mouse, it says Prepper's Recipes. You click that, you come to the page, the category page, where we have our Prepper's Recipes. Right here. We've had these 6 submitted in the past 2 weeks. And I have another, it's like a dinner meal that a lady prepared for a month when her husband was laid off. And she sent that to me. It's a full month's worth of dinners that I'm going to put in this same category and list here in just a day or two. I'm working on getting it together. But as you guys send these to me, if you don't have pictures, I have to try to find pictures. If you have pictures and you want to send them with the recipes, it would help. But if you can't, don't let that stop you from sending the recipe. Go ahead and send it, and I'll try to find photos that match the description. But this is what we're doing with them, and I'm going to show you how it works. Just like this sliced recipe that was sent me here, Joe's creamy chicken and rice instant pot dish. I had it turned sideways. I had to turn my head. But when you get on this site here, all you have to do is scroll down where it says print friendly right here. You just click that, and your print friendly page would generate just like this. And all you have to do then is just click print, and you can print it right off on your computer. You can actually get rid of all this writing here just like that. Just have this part here left. You can take this out. It's got that trash can there. You can get rid of all that stuff, and then all you've got is just the bare recipe, and then just print it out if that's what you want to do. If you like it real well, you can forward it in an email to somebody. You can create a PFD out of it to print out or save. It's just a real good thing there for everybody if you folks are interested in that. So if you have recipes, easy prepper pantry recipes, don't forget to send them to us. The email is in the link below. And again, we thank you for stopping by and seeing us today. We appreciate each of you when you watch our videos. We pray that the Lord watch over you and care for you and keep you safe from harm, that you learn that God's grace is sufficient for you. Yes, if you know the Lord Jesus Christ, you already know that. If you don't, I pray that you come to know him, because he is the most wonderful. He is our all in all. So, folks, thank you all. God bless you all. Till the next time, we'll see you in the next video.